All right, welcome back. Welcome to a new Sunday tradition here in the Go world. Chris Garlock back with Michael Redmond, 9 Down Professional. This week we're looking at one of Michael's games. He tells me I'm going to have to do some life and death, which means I'm going to be counting on you folks to help me out. It's going to get tough. It's going to get tough. We took a quick look at the game. I saw a lot of fighting, I'm not sure who was alive and who was dead. So it should be real fun. Couple of housekeeping chores. Of course, we are live, so talk to us in the chat. Our producer, Stephen, will be handling most of that, but some of that we will try and get to as well. So if you've got questions, of course, shoot them to us. It is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you out there who are moms or who have moms or wish you had moms. Michael, you already did your Mother's Day visit with None?
Yeah, we did that yesterday, actually. Yeah.
Ahead of the curve. Good.
A Zoom Mother's Day celebration.
It works, right? It's pretty cool.
It's very good.
Yeah. I called my mom earlier today. We had a nice little chat, so it was good to do that. All right. So also, we have had a pretty heavy schedule of releases. Stephen has been putting out some of his the games that he and Michael were at. I don't think it was that long ago, but it seems like forever ago, just a few months back, right? The Southeast Asia. My God, wow. Okay. Anyway, some really good content that Steven's been putting out, I think, on Tuesdays. He'll put up the link for those. And we've solved all our logistical issues. We're back on our Friday release schedule, so you can look for those Fridays. Usually, I think Steven set those for around 6 or 7 Eastern Daylight Savings Time, if I'm not mistaken. But subscribe, of course. Here we are for the foreseeable future. Until we run out of games or, something happens, we'll be here on Sunday nights as well. So unintended side effects of the pandemic, right, Michael?
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And of course, hop on over, check out Michael's exciting YouTube channel. He has taken the opportunity to put out a lot of really, he jumped on YouTube. He's got his own channel. He's tweeting. He's a master of the social media, would you say, Michael?
I'm learning. I'm trying to learn.
We're a couple of old dogs trying to learn some new tricks, right?
That's right. Exactly.
All right. I have to explain the hat. It has been, I think I haven't had a haircut in 2 months. If I take this thing off, it's just a mess. I don't know what you did to get yours to lay down flat, Michael, but you need to, must be a professional broadcaster secret that I don't know about.
It was a fortunate accident, I think.
Okay.
But yeah. I'm having trouble with my hair. It's just too much of it, getting unruly.
I know. I was. I think I may go order one of those, clipper things and tell Lisa just to, have a whack at it. I mean, it doesn't matter who's going to see it anyway, right?
Yeah.
All right. Unless I've forgotten something, and if I have, I'm sure Stephen will tell me. We are going to jump into the game. I love all of our games, Michael, but as I've said, I really like when they're your games because, I have at least a fairly decent idea of what the heck is going on. So
really?
That's
well, this
not
one's
really.
going to be a bit messy.
Oh, are you trying to play like AlphaGo again?
Yep. Exactly.
I knew it. I knew it. All right. So tell us what's the game from? Who are you playing, and what should we be looking for?
I'm playing someone called Yao Teng. He's, I think he's from Taiwan, and he's one of the younger, fairly strong players.
Okay.
And so I played this game against him. It was last year, so it was one of my games from last year. Not so many games this year when things were slowing down and then completely at a stop right now.
Right.
So. Probably the most exciting game from last year.
Exciting. All right. I'm excited about it. Actually, Steven's just reminding me our stream next Sunday. We will be back on the Twitch front page. So that's number one. So let your friends know about that. Number two, of course, Michael and I released volume 1, and I guess we better get working on volume 2. of AlphaGo to zero, and that's of course the famous games between AlphaGo and Lee Sedol. We did game four.
That was volume one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we are going to right now. It looks like a shootout between game two and game five, with game two having
next week's broadcast. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
That right.
That's right. So the power, folks, is in your hand. Michael will do 1, 2, 3, or 5. I think are the options.
Because we've already done game number 4. Yeah,
that's right. So it is up to you, folks. Go ahead and vote. Stephen will put the link up there, and we'll take a look at that next week. So, all right, let's take a look at this exciting game. I've got my my life and death hat on. I'm ready. Did we? Okay.
Okay. I have the white stones, and my opponent plays a big Shimari here. This is pretty normal modern opening at this point. Like, for instance, the white Kosumi here. This is nowadays computer programs will not suggest any kind of a pincer on the right, and they like to play a tight move like this. So this is sort of like almost Shusaku's Kosumi has come back.
Yay, my favorite move.
And white plays the Kakari in the upper left. And, actually, I just remembered, right now I've been doing a series of videos on this very Joseki. So, like this one, I think the one I put out just a few days ago was about this variation of the Joseki and how it doesn't really work with black's big Shimari, but how black can look for an invasion next. So I've been talking about that Joseki. I didn't actually talk about the variation that's going to come up in this game. So it'll be interesting to go. And that's a video that's not come out yet either. But it'll be interesting to go into a variation that is not in my tutorial video.
Okay.
So black dives into the 3-3 point. And I think people just, they just go for the direct 3-3 point when they don't know what to do. And when I researched it with Leela didn't seem to like this move as much as some kind of an extension on the side. So a normal move like this or like this is obviously what I would have chosen. And it seems to be better, according to Leela. Like, this is a move that would be very easy for just about anyone to play, the 2-space extension on the third line. You don't have to worry about anything. Like, if white kicks here, black can just play another extension. And this is a very easy way for black to split the side. Otherwise, if white plays from the other side, black can slide into the corner or can play this move. I might choose to play this move, which is a bit more fast-paced. And so black has an easy time of it. This is what I would suggest for black. And I don't really like invading the 3-3 point when black already has this solid position in the upper left, which makes the whole upper side area here relatively small when we're looking at various sides of the board. And so I don't like the fact that black is going to be forced to be playing on the upper side. But that said, you see a lot of players doing this kind of thing nowadays. It's pretty popular. So we got into this, and I get to play the pincer. And black played this extension. So this is actually something I talked about in my tutorial video. I should say I will talk about it because it's not put out yet. It's going to be sometime next. And I talk about black thinking of invading here, which is the typical move. It's also a big move for black to play something on the lower side. So something like this, for instance, would be big. And perfectly reasonable for black to play in that direction, reducing the potential for white. Since white has this strong position here with the diagonal move in the lower right corner, there was a lot of potential for white on the side here. So black just makes a solid extension on the side to take that away from white. But black played here, and I played this one. And this is a move that I'd been researching in a more general manner. Like this is a way to deal with the big shimari. I'm not sure that I should have played in this board position. Like in this board position, it would have been maybe better just to play the normal opening point here. This is a really big point towards the lower side.
Mm.
This would have been perfectly okay. So I'm getting a bit fancy here, playing a move that has been played in some professional games in similar contexts. And the idea is that when black plays here, white does have a nice local move in which white can play here. And this is, for the time being, this is making miai of crawling in the corner and jumping out to the side, for instance. So if black plays something like this, then it's very easy for white to live in the corner. This would be easy for white, and it would leave a weak point here. If the ladder favors white, white can play the attachment here, or can play the diagonal attachment and cut black there. So there's a weakness there left behind. This would be good for white. Black's best move is probably to play here, the local move. And if white plays this way, white does have 2 cutting points, and we'll probably play this way to get a position again on the lower side. So in this board position where the lower side is pretty big, this would be okay. This is one way I could have played. Comparing it with simply playing the side to start with is actually, it's hard to say which is better. This is simple enough. This would have worked too. But my plan was to play just once, and basically this was a probe, because like if black gets a stronger position here, in some cases black might be answering on this side. But if black does it right now, I should have no trouble living in the corner. Like after I play here, I can play this move on the second line to make a living shape. Or if black does something to prevent that, which would be a bit slow, I would just move out. And I have no problems here. This would be very easy for white. So it would be more practical for black to be playing something like this. But again, I would be perfectly fine. But of course, this would change. For instance, if black, if we started a fight in the, okay, let's just have me play some random move like this. If we started a fight here, or even the variation I was talking about, this one, then obviously this would change the equation in the lower left corner because I wouldn't have so much room to escape. And this might be a bit more dangerous for me. So that's why I chose to play that one exchange. And I thought that exchange was a slight profit for me when I played away. So I played in the upper right corner. I was just a bit worried about, for instance, in some cases, black can cut here and start a big fight on the upper side. And so I was preventing that from happening. So that was just something that was concerning me. When I studied the game later with Leela didn't seem to be worried about that very much. But, you know, as a human player, I'm sort of worried about black cutting there.
What did Leela prefer?
Leela was just saying, just going back a move. Leela wanted me to play the extension on the side.
Right, of course, yeah.
But like what I was feeling during the game is that black does have potential to scoop out the ice base from these stones.
Right.
And so having that to worry about, and the fact that black can cut here and start with a fight on the upper side, it was worrying me a little bit, and I couldn't see how that would pan out, how it would turn out. But Leela didn't seem to think that was a problem. You know, when Leela gets into trouble, Leela just throws away the stones, and it doesn't matter apparently.
It's no problem.
Yeah. So I extended here. That's calming down. I thought that this was working well with my extension on the side, just increasing that wall and getting a nice position there on the right side. So I was happy with that. Up to this point, the game is more or less even. So it's not as if I'm doing anything seriously bad. And black plays this attachment. And this is the move that I didn't include in my tutorial video, basically because white has two ways to respond. And so it's sort of confusing to explain. And it's not a very good move, actually, for black.
Really?
So
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I should have known because I wanted to play it. It looks severe, but it probably just doesn't really work, right?
It doesn't really work. Like the local move is usually just for black to play here, which is not, it's not a serious attack. It's okay for white to allow black to take away some of the territory, because it wasn't really anything that white was calling a territory to start with. I wasn't considering that a territory. Like the worst thing that white can do is spend a move like this, playing the iron pillar on the left side just to make something like less than 10 points there. That would be the worst thing to do. It's okay to allow black to reduce the territory a little bit, provided I have a strong position. Yes?
Right. Well, there's a question about whether black is kind of scooped up too much territory at this point of the game. You
I don't
obviously
think so.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty well balanced. Taking territory like this in the upper left corner and the upper right corner is what players like to do. I think it would be perfectly okay for black actually to continue taking. If I were black, I would have two choices that I would be trying to choose between. One would be to finish off the lower left corner. This would be a big move. Looking at the whole board position, moving out here on the side is a very big move. Like if white plays a hane, something like this. Actually, patterns from hundreds of years ago would have black playing here now. The pattern that modern computer programs like is for black to play here, and black is looking to cut here next. And so it's a bit more complicated. And so this kind of thing could happen. If I were playing with black, I might try this one. Otherwise, I would be going for even more territory. Black does have something like 45 points, I guess. 40.
Right.
I'd say the lower left area is more than 20. The upper left is 15, and maybe about 10 points in the upper right. Yeah. So that does add up to 45. Yeah. So I would. I figured out that it's probably not so important to be invading this side immediately, which indicates that maybe this move was a bit premature, the extension on the side.
Yeah, there's a local question. You'll probably come to it in the analysis, but somebody's wondering about if white can just descend at C10 in response to that. That's
okay. My feeling is that white doesn't really want to get into a big fight.
right.
Like if white plays C10, black will probably, it's either this one or this one. Actually,
Ooh.
I'm not prepared for that question, but maybe this way.
Sorry.
And like stuff like this could happen. Now, if white really makes a stand here, it's very dangerous because black has this solid position here in the corner, and white has the two weak groups on the left side. Basically, this exchange has become bad for white because it's strengthening black in the corner. And so white doesn't really want to get into a big fight like this.
Wow.
That said, it sort of does depend on the type of fight.
Okay.
First of all, I'll show you what I think I should have done is, and generally in this, if you have this position, this local position, and your opponent plays this attachment, my advice would be to play the hane on top. That's not the move I chose. If white does this, the best black can get is something like this. Black can take away some territory, but it's not a big deal. Like white has the outside.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
It's perfectly okay. Even if black, in some cases, black will try to start a fight here. White can always play the peep here and cover on the outside, and it's not going to amount to much.
That's a very clever response because rather than mixing it up, I think there's a tendency to want to really fight back strongly, and this just sort of backs up a bit in a really patient, solid way. I like it.
This whole area there's so many black stones in the area. Like, even if we count this white stone, it's not really participating in any fighting on the left side, even if we count that stone, black has about 3 extra stones on the left half of the board.
Yeah.
So it's not wise for white to be fighting too much. So that's why I should have played the Hane on top. It would have been working well with my position on the right side of the board. But I didn't do that. I played a Hane underneath. And locally, this is also another way white can handle this. It's a strong move. In fact, I'm just gradually getting into dangerous ground here, bit by bit. Every move, like with this move, I would have played the Hane on top now with this experience. And with this move, well, this move is okay. With my next move here, again, it's a very strong attitude that white is taking here. White is fighting it out. So this was another opportunity to play this move, which is more peaceful. If white plays this way, white can connect underneath. This is actually the tesuji, the shape move in this position, where black has to worry about this cut here. Black will probably connect. And the difference between this and the actual game position is that I can connect here, and black cannot cut me off now. So basically, if black follows with this, I can connect underneath.
Right.
And this is not really working for black, even though white is down on the first line. Those black stones that are trying to attack white are sort of isolated. So it's not as if black is going to accomplish very much here. It's actually more likely that white is going to be attacking black.
I was going to say, it's kind of pushing you just where you want to go, right?
Yeah, this is good for white. So what black will do, black will probably connect here, but then black will not continue with this move on the side, but will cut on, the tesuji is to cut on the third line. And white will take that, something like this. And this looks like black has closed white in, but the fact is that if I play here, I already have a living shape. So like if black plays here, I already have enough room on the side. That's basically, if we fill it all in, that's 7 stones on the second line, which is enough to have a living shape. So it's alive. And also these 2 stones have some potential also. So this would be perfectly okay for me, even though I've been, all of my stones are on the second line, but it's not a big problem.
Right. They're alive.
They're alive. If they're alive, it's not a problem. But I played the more aggressive move in playing here. And this is a move that would work. It's a good shape. So it would work if I have a stronger position in the general area. It's probably a case where I shouldn't have been playing so strongly. So black connects here. And now you can see that I cannot connect underneath. Just because if I try to, in fact, actually this might have been the better move. If I try to, black gets to play an Atari once. It's just that difference that this stone, instead of being a solid connection at B11, it's a hanging connection, which gives black down to the Atari. Actually, this variation might have been better than the game. I can follow up by making an eye here. If black jumps out, I can escape to the center. And in this case, black has to take away my 2 eyes because I'm threatening to make a living shape with the Hane on the second line. So black will play down here. And I have some momentum moving out into the center. So when looking at the various fights that could have happened, this is actually a fight that I could have played without getting into too much trouble. Even though I was telling you that I don't really want to fight on the left half of the board.
Right.
I would be pretty much safely out. And when I'm getting this point, it's a pretty big point towards the corner. Like sometimes I can play down to the first line and take away a lot of this corner territory. So I am actually gaining territory while we're making this fight. So this would be okay for me. I'm not in any immediate danger either. So this would have been better than the game. But seeing that I could not connect underneath, I decided to leave the aji and just extend immediately.
That
It was
makes
not so
sense.
good. It makes sense, but actually, the moment black plays here, black has already established a
Oh
reasonable
man.
territory here. Already, black is taking the profit that black needed. Um, it's already justified black's invasion on the left side, getting this profit towards the corner.
And those four stones clinging to the wall there are,
Yeah, I'm thinking of sacrificing them.
yeah, yeah, good.
But when black, if black was coming after them with something like this, for instance, it would be okay because black would be spending a lot of moves, and I would
Right.
be getting a nice position towards the center of the board. So this would be okay. But black came up with this move, which was really nice. So he's moving out into the center, and he's going to force me to save the four stones.
Oh,
I probably should have just played here. But of course, this is what black is. This is according to black's plan, basically. But I
ex
probably should
ex
have played here.
explain why that forces you to capture the four stones.
What?
You
What force?
said that by black playing out where it
He's
plays
forcing me to save the four stones. Yeah,
to save the four stones. Yeah,
yeah.
to save the four stones.
In contrary to playing this way, which would be grabbing the four stones, but would be giving me forcing moves from outside. He
Right.
starts by playing from outside. So you can see both players are thinking in this direction. The Moyo White's potential in this direction, which is
Right.
more important than those four stones.
Yep.
That said, I probably should have saved them just to keep the potential of this cut here.
Mm-hmm.
And provided I have the potential to cut here, it means that black will not be able to peep here because I can answer the peep with that
Right.
cut on the third line.
Right.
So I have to keep the potential there. But I invaded first.
Oh man, you were aggressive this day. You were was this is this was this in the middle or during that winning streak that you had?
It was during the winning streak, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you were feeling pretty feisty.
Yeah, a bit too much. Well, there's the hidden meaning behind this move is that I'm making moves like this more effective, making the threat of pushing through. And so, like if black plays, let's try to make some kind of a. If black played something like this, I might just immediately try here, and you can see pushing through here is a bit more dangerous for black. If black answers that, then after I play here, also I have the forcing move underneath here. So I'm not really trying to use this move. I would like black to come after it so that I can use it from to sacrifice it actually, rather than saving it. So that's the main push of my idea here. But my opponent countered with this peep, and now it's a bit troublesome because I don't have time to play any forcing moves before I'm forced to. I don't really want to connect on the third line there. It's such a clumsy shape.
Mm.
And so I would like to. The virtue of that other move that I was showing you where I play here is that if black answers here, I can just cut here.
Absolutely, right.
And capture the three black stones, which would give me a living shape. But if I tried doing that now, after black plays here, then it would just not be in time, and I wouldn't be getting a living shape. So black would just capture the four stones.
Ouch.
And it would be a bit painful. Like even this stone is not wasted. It's in a good point. And this stone is pretty much wasted in this variation when black gets those stones. But that said, connecting here, I felt it was just too painful to connect here. A nihilist shape. And it's really painful later on when black might end up sacrificing these three stones. Having that extra stone on the third line connecting is just a wasted move.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like that. So I started with this.
Whoa.
Well, this is forcing. It's okay.
Yeah.
And now I played here. Now I'm getting really fancy. And I gotta say, I think I was trying to emulate AlphaGo a little bit here.
Uh-huh.
But there is some reason to this, some human logic to this move, in that if black plays here, my idea is to peep here.
Okay.
And now it's a double threat.
Yeah.
If black answers here, then I can immediately cut here. So this
Nice.
is actually working. Like if black plays here, I can capture the black stones with this move.
Mm.
So this would be good. It would be good for white. Actually, black could answer just once, and if black had played that way and then cut here, this would also have been perfectly fine for black. So this is a way that black could have allowed me to do that. And even if I cut here, black will have sente. Black will have the tempo to play away, play something to the right side of the board, or even just move out with this stone. That would work too. So it's not a big problem for black. Maybe black just sort of played the normal way like this, but black actually took the 4 stones at this point.
Wow.
And I pushed through here. And now, this was a really big point, but if I'm going to play that move, it was a mistake again. If I'm going to play that move, I should have done it immediately after this. So at this point, instead of playing this move, if I had played here, it would have been a perfectly reasonable move. But once I started things with this attachment, I just have to continue locally. So I should have continued with a hane here at h14. And for instance, something like this.
Oh, nice.
And this would make sense. It would be building up my potential on the right half of the board. And I would have ideas of squeezing on the left with this move. Like this would be a way I could try to squeeze on the left side. Otherwise, I would just be sacrificing everything on this side of the board. If I can get some territory on the right side, if this moyo becomes territory, I'm going to win anyway. So I can afford to sacrifice that stuff on the left side of the board. Obviously, black is going to try something on the right side of the board now, which is why I'm thinking of that squeeze with this mark point, D8. And that is a squeeze that I can think of using later. Some forcing moves. And then, of course, the slide at G2 is also a huge move. So I have some big moves to look forward on the left side of the board after black invades the right side. Or if I do get the right side as a moyo, that's going to be a big territory.
It's just interesting because I was feeling a little discouraged. I mean, it feels like black really has some nice timing in this game and is really seizing the big moves. And then when he captures those 4 white stones, it just sort of gives black a pretty solid position. But I actually really love that sequence for you. And it's still a game for white.
It's still playable. A lot of my moves, especially this invasion here, when black just sort of ignored it and didn't have to deal with it directly, it was a questionable move.
Yeah.
And the fact that I got into this fight to start with was a bit questionable. So I am making some mistakes. But the game is, if I had played this way, at least I would have been consistent. And I do have a lot of potential towards the right side.
Right.
And basically, black did start a very sharp attack on the left side of the board. And that was a part of the board where I was supposed to be just dodging and not really getting into a big fight. And so that's where I was making my mistake. But in this variation, I am sort of getting into a position where I am throwing away the left side and working on the right side, which is the right direction of play, at least. It's probably not a big difference. It's just a few moves. I played this big move. This would have been big if I had played it earlier, like I was saying. Like directly after this, it would have been big. But since I've started things on the upper half of the board, it's not so good when black extends here and is now attacking me in the center on a larger scale. So this extension that black has just played is taking a lot of my potential away on the right half of the board. And it's also kind of a double attack.
Yeah.
And so the more important side is, since I've played here, I want to have this, the added value of this move is that in some cases it's going to take away the eye space of this black group.
I was just going to ask, is there an attack?
So I want to continue in that area to make that happen.
Sure.
So that's why I played, let's see if I played the right move. That's why I played here.
Yes.
So it's consistent.
Yes.
and my opponent plays once here. But still, white does have a very difficult position here now. So I don't want to get cut off too easily. Black still has moves like this later on that would threaten to connect up. And so I want to play actively. So I played the attachment here. And we got into this.
Ruh-roh.
Okay. This is a good position for you to suggest white's next move, locally on the left side of the board.
Okay, so yeah, no Tanuki, I'm thinking, right?
Well, I've started this. Obviously, I have a plan to do something with these stones. So I'm going to continue on the left side, inside what might be looking like a black territory to you.
Oh, yeah.
I think I have something I can do there.
It looks, I'm wondering if there's one of those wedge Tsuji thingies happening there somehow, you know, the wedge at D8. Let me see if I get any help from my friends here. I got a D8. Okay, yeah, I got an aimant on a D8. People want me to play B8 first. B8.
Someone is
B8. Oh, yeah,
you got a strong player here. Congratulations to whoever said B8.
All right, I think they got a couple of B8s there. Yeah.
So this is the game
guys. Good job.
I'll call this the correct move. You have the right idea when you want to play D8. Only playing it first is not going to work because now, like if black were cooperating and playing here, then you would get the squeeze.
Right.
But black's not going to cooperate. Black's going to play something, for instance, like this.
That's a problem.
And now black wedges.
And then the
black
wedge. Yep.
So the wedge works for black too.
Yep.
So white plays B8 first, and if black plays here, white can play here.
Then it works. Nice. Very clever.
And the other variation is if black plays here, what does white do?
I mean, the obvious thing is B7, so there must be a problem with that. Is it D8 now?
D8, not D8, it's going to be D9 now.
Oh, D9. Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
And actually, this is a way that black could have played, because obviously it's bad if black connects here. Black just dies. But black could now have just ignored the two stones.
Right.
This is a choice that black had. Black could have played this way, getting a lot of territory. And also having Sente, so black can switch to the upper side. This would have been perfectly okay for black, and it would have been, as far as territory is concerned, this would have been the most profitable. And there's also the fact that although white has captured these two stones, that's actually only one eye. So eventually, at some point, there's the potential that black would usually start, for instance, with a move like this somewhere in the center of the board, and then would be thinking of playing the peep. And so two moves in a row would be putting a lot of pressure on this white group too. So there's actually some potential weakness, even though I've captured those cutting stones.
Wow.
So this would be I think I'll call this the best variation for black, just capturing the whole side there. There's the virtue that black is connecting up to this group, which was potentially weak, and has taken all of the territory on the side. So that's about 20 points on the left side that black is gaining compared to the game. So now I'll show you what happened in the game.
Wow, I mean, I wouldn't even, that just looks really good.
So I played here. Right. Obviously, this is the Tsuji. And black wedge too. So this is also a move that works, but this is going to allow me to live on a relatively large scale.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So if I play here, if I try to save the two stones, this is going to be a disaster.
No.
Like
C7,
whatever I
C7.
do, black can just squeeze in any direction. It's not working for white. So that's not working. But actually, I just bump against here.
Yeah, right.
And I'm alive.
Nice.
Yes. So this is, compared to the previous diagram, the difference, there's two differences. One of the differences is that this group on the outside is completely dead locally. So that's the
Yeah.
advantage that black gets. But of course, if we look at the territory on the left, white has something like 6 points there. And so the territory on the left side here is about equal. Like the white territory is about equal to what black has left. Whereas in the previous variation, black had close to 20 points, or at least even if we sacrificed the white territory, if we subtracted the white territory, it would still be about 15 points. So there's a big difference in territory. And it turns out that when white has this potential moyo on the right side of the board, it's not very likely that black is going to actively go after capturing these stones. And so we don't really know what's going to happen to them. Like they could easily be saved just because black is not going to try to kill them. And so it's sort of questionable. I'd say the value of the solid territory that white has gained, of about 15 points on the left side, is bigger than the fact that these stones are eyeless.
Okay.
So the game is, by the way, if black continues here, this is going to be a forcing move.
I'm assuming something like A7 is.
Yeah, you can think about that for a while because when you actually played it, it was long later, and it was later in the game.
Okay.
So you have plenty of time to think about that, find the answer.
All right, I'm gonna leave that to my colleagues here to take a look at. Y'all figure out why that's a Sente move. I mean, it distinctively definitely looks Sente-ish to me, just looking at it quickly. But I want to see what's going on. I mean, it's really interesting. But white's got this great position, but yeah, right, yeah, that's a problem.
Okay, the moment black plays here, now white's grouped there. Those 7 stones, they're pretty much dead already.
Wow.
And so it's correct for me just to sacrifice them like this. And yeah, so I played this. I actually was conscious of the fact that I know that computer programs actually like to play this move. And sometimes they like to play this move. And I was actually conscious of that. I just didn't like this because this one would actually give black a lot of room to live in the corner. So for instance, like this. It would be easy for black to make a life there on the side.
Okay.
Actually, it turns out Leela wanted me to play this one. This gives black a bit less room. So this in that way, this is the better move. And it does work better for white in this direction. It gives white more potential territory, a stronger position in that direction. So this is the move that computer programs like. But I was a bit stubborn here and I played the old-fashioned. This is the move that humans have been playing for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And black played here. This is kind of a neat move. It's reducing the lower side and making potential in the center. Strangely enough, Leela didn't like it at all, black's move.
Really?
It's probably a pretty good move, but Leela was all for just starting stuff in the corner, like stuff like this and stuff like this. And then it was doing all sorts of crazy stuff like, and you know, I'm going to leave it here because, yeah, I can see that you're confused, and I was a bit confused at this point. I think the idea is that black is just getting a little bit extra potential there with some forcing moves.
Okay.
And invading the right side. But, you know, this whole sequence was a bit tricky. Like it's a position where sometimes black can slide and still have some potential here. So it was just dying like that variation I was just showing you is something that takes a bit of courage for a human player, I think.
Yeah, because normally
it's more human to play away and leave the Aji, you know.
Right. I mean, normally when you play the move that you played, you know, that stone should be near dead except in special situations, basically, right?
There is some stuff that can happen, yeah.
Right.
Actually, if black slides here, it can sometimes be very difficult to kill them. For instance, if white plays here and black plays here and white plays here, this becomes a famous life and death problem where black can play this move and make 2 eyes.
Oh, yeah.
This is kind of basic life and death. If you see this position, then it's probably pretty obvious. But
right.
it actually comes from this Joseki position, Joseki-like position.
Right.
So white
Right.
would have to find something stronger. Okay, so there is some aji there, and so that would make me hesitate to play that sequence that just throws away the whole corner.
Mm.
And so I sort of like this move. I played here, and you can see I'm starting to draw a line from this starting point and heading for some territory on the right side. So it's a very natural move. It's a point where I could have played somewhere closer to the center of the board, like somewhere around here would also have been a good point. Actually, this might have been the better move, just with the idea that it's keeping away from this position of black's, which is a strong position. So you could say this move is doing a better job of keeping away from black's thickness. And it's keeping away from white's thickness too, this wall. So it's a more a better balance of the whole board balance is better with this move. This move is a bit more greedy. I'm just going for as much the outside line. I'm just trying to make as much territory as possible. So you can see that I'm actually consciously being a bit greedy here because I realize that I have a difficult game at this point. Black has a lead.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say it's not. I don't think it's greedy. I mean, you have to. I mean, if you just play normally at this point,
you have to be greedy. Yeah. So that's my feeling with this move. So black plays here. For the time being, black is threatening to surround the center, and I played here as a probe. So with this move, if black pushes through and cuts, then of course black is cut too. So when I play something like this, there is some pressure being put on these two black stones. And so my idea would be I would be forcing black to play a move to capture that stone, in which case I would be able to move back to the... Ideally, black would play something like this, and I would be able to play here. This would be the best scenario for white. In actual play, black would play more strongly probably, but I would have this kind of idea. I really like this move that black played. It's another balance move, making this more strong. Also looking at the move here, which would still capture five white stones on the left. And it's also reducing my potential in the center of the board. So it's a very, a nice shape move. And I think you can see that black realizes that he's in the lead at this point. So I played once here. This was threatening to do stuff here. Like if black plays away, white can cut here and push through here.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure that out. Yeah.
And then there's the cut here and pushing through here. So there's some problems that black has.
Right.
So black protected. And this is starting to capture, well, at least threatening those white stones in the corner, in the center. Sorry. So white plays here. So I'm back to surrounding the center. And so that's my territory in the upper right. That's a pretty big territory.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Black jumps in here.
I'm sorry. Wait. Just a quick question here. So, I mean, we completely just given up on those other white stones there, or do we have a plan in our back pocket?
You mean these stones?
Yeah. I mean, those guys seem like they're pretty toasty.
Well, if black plays something like this, then they will be cut off. But with my previous move, I've set up. Not that one. I've set up this attachment here, which is also pretty big.
Okay, so you've left a few back doors open, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, if black really tries, black can capture them with about 20 points. But if I can sort of harass black there locally and then secure a territory like this, then I'll be okay.
Okay, all right. I see. Good plan.
So black immediately comes here. Now I'm really in trouble when black does this. This is very severe. Black plays here and slides. And it's going to be really difficult for me to kill this group. partly because black had this extra stone here. So it's adding some weakness for white on the outside. So in these points, the cutting potential there makes a big difference. So I can do some variations here to show you various ways I might try to kill the black group. So one would be, for instance, this move. Black would have these forcing moves, and then would have various ways to live. So like, for instance, this would be one way that black could live, and black would have just a living shape here. That's a bent 4.
Yeah.
Or actually, I think black could, playing straight down might even be better, if I'm correct, yes. This is actually better as far as territory is concerned. That was a mistake that I think, if I recall correctly, that was a mistake that Dosaku made in one of his games. He played the hanging connection when he could have played straight down. But he wins anyway. Dosaku is so strong. So that's one variation. Another variation, obviously, if I play from the side, there's enough room for black to live very easily. Well, that last move with a bit slack, maybe anywhere. This works too. So that's no good. Locally, white's strongest move is usually the attachment here. In this case, black will not have enough room to live, but can just capture the one stone and have a living shape on the side. So this would be good enough for black. And you can see all of white's territory is gone here. And black can still roll on the first line. So that would be a lot of territory gone. And so I try something stronger. I'm trying a desperate maneuver here with the attachment.
Whoa. Does that work?
Well, the difference is that if black plays here now, there's a big difference in black's eye space in the corner. So this is dangerous.
Right.
Now, when black plays here, I'm playing... this is a desperate attempt to kill the black group.
Yeah.
And black played here. Excuse me.
Solid.
And my weakness on the outside is a bit of a problem. So like if I play something like this and black cuts here, I have that cut on the third line I have to worry about. And I also have to worry about this, which is threatening both the right side and pulling out here. So like if white extends, like if white covers, let's do that one first. If white covers, then black can just play something like this and cut, and this is the end. So if white pulls back, black will continue pushing through up to the point that eventually black will be able to pull back here. And that would be bad. Then white would just lose, like this. And so white would end up probably playing this move, something like this. This would be a bit of trouble for white. Like this variation, white has to crawl for quite a bit. So it would just be bad. Black would play something like this. And white's territory there would just disappear.
Oh man.
So yeah, something like this would just be very bad.
Black just gets a free rein in there.
Yeah. So I have a lot of issues there. And I try to deal with them by playing strongly here in the corner, playing the Tari. Now if black plays here, that makes a big difference to that variation I was showing you, because this time, actually, that move, it might be better to play this way, I'm not sure. There's a slight difference now. Actually, this could have still worked for black, like black could play here, I play here, and filling the liberty and then cutting. Black will be able to reduce my territory for a certain degree. So even this would work to a certain degree for black. So actually, black has, but the game move was actually one way that black could continue was the game move in which black started a ko. So this is also working for black. It's another way black can do it. Because black has ko threats. And so I didn't have enough ko threats for this ko. And at this point, I'm giving up the ko. So black lives on the side. So that was, and I'm getting something back towards the center, but it's not going to be enough. And so I saved the 5 stones in the center. And it turns out I'm sort of looking at some potential here in the center of the board.
Hmm.
So we'll see how that turns out. So black plays here, still giving me trouble locally. And then black plays here. So black is actually looking at the weak point at this point, the cutting point.
Right.
And I pushed once here. Black played here. And I continued with this.
Wow.
At this point, black still has a number of ways to deal with this threat. Black cuts, and I connect. This still works. So for the time being, white is threatening the cut here.
Sure.
And also is looking at a move here to surround black on the lower side. Black has a really neat way to avoid both by cutting once here. And the reason for this move is that after white plays this way, after white has a stone at the mark point, white will be able to capture it like this, provided white has a stone at this point, filling a liberty of those black stones. And so what happened in the game was black simply connected. It means that I was able to protect from this side. And black does not have that cut. If black cuts, this happens and it's not working.
Wow.
So the fact that I've been able to play this move first means that I had this way of capturing that cutting stone. So by cutting here first, this would be one way for black to deal with that, because at this point I cannot capture from this side. It doesn't work. Just because there's that extra liberty open.
Yeah.
Stones. Also, I cannot cut here yet because black will capture this one stone. And that doesn't work for me either. For instance, if I squeeze like this, black's going to win this semi.
Wow.
Otherwise, I could make a ko out of it, I suppose, like this, but it would just not be very good. This ko would be a bit desperate for white because black's not really losing anything, and I don't have so many ko threats anyway. Like black has ko threats on the lower side. Black could play a ko threat against this white group, and that would be good enough. So this is working for black. This is one way black could have dealt with it. But black connected, and I played here. And the move I found for black in this position was really neat. But first I'll show you, he played here. And this is, as I was showing you, this one doesn't work because I can click and just capture the black stone. So this is probably the losing move, actually.
Wow.
Now you have to tell me, what does white do if black peeps here?
Ooh, that's a very sneaky move. I mean, can't connect because they just lose. So, I mean, it's either and well, let me get some help here. I have an idea here. I got an idea. Nope, I'm not getting any help here. I'm going to do it on my own. I mean, O4 not working. That's just going to be too short. N5 is obvious, but that there must be a problem with that. Pushing through at M4 looks like you're just going to run out your own. I don't know. That is a very tough move. I mean, I don't know, N3? Is there something tricky like N3 that works?
Well, yeah, you were pretty close. N3 doesn't work because black just connects, and there's two
Yeah, yeah,
cutting
yeah,
points.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if white connects on top, black just cuts. That doesn't work either.
Nope.
If white connects to the right, and you were seeing this, that
Yeah,
black
yeah,
just
yeah.
pushes
That's
through.
too. That's too short. So
If
does the
white,
grow just the push through? Does that work?
yeah, that's right. You had the right idea there. So
Yeah.
white
Okay.
pushes through. If black if black pulls back, now white can connect on the fifth line. And now this
Oh,
is
because it sets up the same thing. I see. Yeah, you're back. I see. That same picture.
like
Yep. Yep.
otherwise
Yep.
in this variation, black was answering this way.
Yeah.
But if
That
white
doesn't.
can
Yeah.
exchange this for this first, then black has a bad shape there. Otherwise, if black connects this way, then white can just connect.
Sure.
Or actually, cutting works also. Cutting is the better tsuji this way.
Right.
And so
Oh
with this,
wow.
there's no way for black. And if black cuts now, then white just plays this again. It's the same thing.
Right. 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 Right.
Same thing. So there's no way for black to cut that.
That's
So going back to the
crazy.
same position, I've just played here, and black does not have this move, and this move is bad too. But black has a beautiful way to handle this. And I'm going to just show you, because black plays here. And to start this, this is a double.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if white answers in some mundane way, like this, for instance, then black will now have the cut here, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
If white simply protects against the cut, then black will play here. And now the issue in this variation is what's going to
Yes.
happen to black in
Yeah.
the center. This is the real issue. What's going to happen to this black group in the center? This group. This is the group that's in danger. But it turns out in this variation, black has a lot of forcing moves against these white stones on the left, this group here. So black can start with one of the attachments, like maybe here. And if white answers, for instance, if white answers like this, then black can bump against, and you can see black is making two eyes.
Wow.
Otherwise, in this case, if white bumps against black, black does not have space, but black can play here. And you can see again, black is threatening to make two eyes here. So my strongest move would be to peep. But in this case, black is just going to start a ko. And again, I don't have enough ko threats for this. It's just all I have is the one local ko threat, basically, this one.
Mm-hmm.
And black has ko threats like this. So black's going to win this ko.
Wow.
So that's no good for me. Otherwise, black could have, instead of attaching here, I think, and black has so many liberties. Black's group has these extra liberties on the outside. Black's going to win a fight to capture, a race to capture. Black's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
So to go back to the game, miraculously he played this move, which was the losing move, because now I've captured that stone. Oh, so I have to go back to that variation. So black plays here. There is one way for white to stop both sides. So I showed you this variation where black pushes through and cuts. If white pushes through, that's a double atari. And the other variation is where white connects here and tries to kill the center, but the center was not done. So that's one of the variations. The other variation is if white answers on this side, black has the cut, right?
Yep,
But if we
yep.
go back two moves, actually there's a way for white to stop both of those, which is to play here.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And the way black handles this is exquisite, because black cannot cut here. White just captures the cutting stone, right?
Right,
But
right.
actually black can just start making eyes very calmly like this. And white plays here, black plays here. Black's alive on the side.
Oh, that is annoying.
White can enclose black with something like this, or maybe something like this. But black has this squeeze here to make a sente eye here. And it's easily alive. That's so easy for
Easy.
that. That would be so beautiful.
Easy. I don't mean it's alive. We'll give
Just
you it's
let me
alive.
remind you, I'm the white player here, so it's sort of painful too, but it's very beautiful.
I know.
And if white plays on this side, there's just too much room for black to do stuff here and make two eyes very easily there. Like there's so many cutting points with the wedge here and the cut here, the cut here. I'm going to have to answer that. So it's no hope for me.
That's pretty impressive for
So
a
if black
string
had
of.
just played that move, this would have been the winning move. But black cut here. I don't know. Well, he was in overtime, but it was really. Even so, it's a very unexpected mistake. Like he was playing so brilliantly in this game.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
move just spoiled. This is where it gets exciting from your viewpoint, though, because after this, everything starts to die, and it like all over the board, things are going to die. So black can escape by playing this way, and actually, when black does this, now black is going to win the race to capture on the lower side. Black has an advantage in this local fight.
No kidding.
But it's something like a code, but it's not important. It doesn't matter to me because I know I can kill black in the center. If I can kill this group in the center, then it doesn't matter whether I lose the lower side group.
Okay, all right.
So I'm simplifying the game by going after the center first, where I could have fought a little bit here, like I could have continued the fight on the lower side, but that would have confused matters. So I decided to simplify things by going for the center. And I was right. My judgment of the position was correct in this way. And it's just dead. And it's going to be good enough for me. And now black plays this forcing move. So you get to tell me now how the left side, what happens to the left side.
I mean, when I looked at it before instinctively, A7 just looks like the living move. But okay. there's one of those
A7?
Yeah.
What does white do?
Right, you can't let black escape, obviously. So something like, I don't know, A6 maybe. Let me see if anybody else did you guys study this at all? Oh, thank you, Mr. Singh. Nobody helped Chris out. Appreciate that. Help a brother out here. All right, so there.
This is going to be easy for black. There's a good move coming up. Next move.
For black, right?
Yeah, there's a good move for black.
This is one of those false. Yeah. But you have to play. Oh shoot. Man, I want to crawl at B8 and poke up at B7 at the same time.
Oh yeah. Well, you have to choose between one of them.
All right, let's say no, because if you poke up, then you get a shortage of liberties on the other side, right?
Yeah, that's right. I think you're on the left.
Yeah. So poke up when white goes down. Oh, that's clever. So 7B.
7B, yeah. So black cuts her and is threatening to capture the white stones on this side. So white has to play some kind of an Atari and then black can crawl.
There you go.
Or if white plays Atari from the other side, black crawls anyway. And this is a dead shape.
Right.
So that would be dead. But actually white can make a ko out of it by playing here and allowing black to connect underneath, then making a ko out of it.
It's kind of a big ko, isn't it?
It's a big ko. So this move has the virtue of now when white connects here and we get into this variation, because of this stone that black has played here, black is going to actually win the race to capture. Although I think I have a step ko or something there. And it would have been reasonable for me to defend the left side But this is where I'm going to make the game exciting because I'm going
Wait
to
a minute.
start to
I
try
thought
to
you were
squeeze
simplifying
things.
the game. Whoa, 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 whoa. You were simplifying the game.
Well, in my own way, I'm simplifying it here. I played this move is actually pretty huge, and I'm thinking it's more important than basically. I have a lot of ko threats in this area, so I'm not so afraid of that ko on the left side. I'm
Right,
going to play
right.
that ko
Yeah, yeah.
because actually my lead in territory is not so big that I can slack off at this point. So I have to take
Hmm.
that big point on the upper side, and I'm willing to fight a ko on the left side. And I'm sort
Well,
of pretending that I've overlooked it. So my
but
opponent
also,
is biding his time. I don't
but
know. I
also,
don't know if he was fooled or what, but no. And so now actually the lower side, there's a bit of a ko here. And black has a choice. Like if black simply covers here, and I play here, it will be a ko, but it's going to be fairly distant. Like this kind of position would be a step ko, which is going to take a lot of time. Like for instance, if we just fill the liberties and assume something like this, black has 4 liberties, white
hmm.
has only 3. So like if black takes and white connects, black is already winning. So it's a
Right.
step ko that in which white cannot even doesn't even have time to capture the one stone at f2, and white has to fight it as it is. So there is a step ko there. If I can grade this up to a direct ko, that would stop black from starting a ko on this side. So I'm sort of making the left side and the lower side miai, interchangeable points, by trying to start some trouble on the lower side at the same time as squeezing from, like, already I played this point. I'm trying to just reduce the size of black's territory by making it into a a kind of a semi-like shape. There's a lot of points in that, the whole sequence there, in which I'll be playing all of these moves as forcing moves. Like all of these moves, I'm going to get in as forcing moves while we're
Hmm.
playing that ko. And so it's going to reduce black's territory pretty much. So that's worth it. And black counters with this. Now this actually, it takes sente, but it's also losing some potential because this actually has consolidated white's territory in the center. This exchange that black plays as a forcing move, it's given me some extra territory here in the center. Without that, there was something that black could have done. Like for instance, in this variation, there is later on there's going to be the hane here, which is trouble for white. Like if white answers this way, black can play this way. And this is a disaster. So white would, if white plays here, black here, white loses the cutting stones.
Ay, ay, ay.
So this would be a disaster. I would have to answer this way, and black gets to take off these 3 stones on the left. So
That's a lot.
black had this endgame sequence waiting to happen. So by playing this, black has gained a move, but I'm happy with this also because that endgame sequence I was just showing you in the center of the board has gone away. So I've gained a move towards the center of the board. So you can see that although I've killed the black group in the center of the board, it's still a position where I have to think about the balance of the territory because the black has a lot of territory too. So it is a problem.
Right, right. But I mean, it's a good problem because before Black made those 2 mistakes, Black had to make 2 mistakes. Otherwise, you're not in the game.
I was
You're,
completely, yeah, I was in
so
trouble.
this is I mean, having an end game is actually pretty comfortable. And I'm assuming you were in overtime at this point,
Oh yes, of course. I've been in overtime for a while also. So you might remember that I have this problem on the left side with the co-pending.
yeah.
There's one other problem that's a big deal for me, which is on the right side of the board. There is the potential for black to play this wedge here. And there's going to be a lot of bad odds associated with that. So like if black, for instance, starts with this and plays the wedge, and like this, and like this, and like this, you can see that this is going to be trouble for me on the left side of the board. Now, it's like I
Uh,
have to play something to save those stones, and black can break into the center.
mm,
So there's that sequence there that starts with black's, and it's not a wedge, it's a clamp. The clamp here. on the second line. That's another problem I have to deal with. And so by starting this step ko on the lower side, not only am I trying to stop black from playing this move on the left side, because this would be just a ko that black is going to lose points on. When black plays that, and we get into this ko, and I have ko threats. Well, actually, if black did it now, black would be in a lot of trouble on the lower side. But I have ko threats towards the lower side, and eventually, if I get to capture like this, I'll be gaining a lot of points on the left half of the board, on that left side there. So I'm trying to provoke black into playing that ko, actually. And also, by creating this situation in the lower side, which is, again, it's going to be an approach ko. By creating that, I'm threatening to start this ko start this ko, which is bigger than the left side. This ko on the lower side is the difference in territory is going to be bigger than anything that could happen to my white group on the left side. So I'm more interested in winning this ko on the lower side than I am in saving my group on the left side. And I'm going to use that ko. If black starts stuff on the right side of the board, I'm going to be playing this ko. So I have two things I'm worried about, and that's what makes the end game. These 2 points at S14 and A7. I have to worry about two things. Obviously, I can't play two moves at one time, so I'm trying to deal with it by starting stuff on the lower side. And now black plays the clamp.
Right.
If black had just tried to win the ko, then maybe I could have played two moves, like something like this and something like this. If I can force black to, no, sorry about that. If I can force black to put two stones in, then I can save both sides, and I would have a winning position.
Right.
So black didn't allow that, and starts on this side. And now if I answer that, I am going to get into that position where he's going to be chiseling away my territory with this sequence, a double threat. So I don't really want to deal with that immediately, and I just start the ko on the lower side. Now this is going to be a direct ko. And I have some ko threats there on the upper side of the board. And you might note that if I get to play this kind of thing, it's going to make a difference to what happens to the left side, because I have this cut here to look forward to. So, for instance,
oh, wow, yes.
If black continues with this thing, it's going to be fun because I get the cut here. And you can see black's in trouble on the left there. Black has to add a stone there. And then I get to capture. For instance, I could do it this way. I could just go after these stones immediately.
Right. Yeah, that's the easiest way, yeah.
Yeah. So there's that thing that there is some connection there. These ko threats I'm playing on the upper side do have a connection to the left side of the board. So black answers, and I take the ko. And you see this is a direct ko. If I win this ko, then it doesn't really matter if things are happening on the right side of the board, or even to my group on the left side. This ko is going to be big enough that it's more important.
Huge. It's 1, 2. How many points is it?
It's more than 50 points.
More than 50 points. Yeah.
And like that group on the left side, although it looks pretty big, it's something closer to 30 points. So there's a big difference in the size of these two moves.
Huge.
And of course, although the right side is big, it's basically just an end-game move. So it's not really. Once this ko starts on the lower side, it's not immediately important.
And now you're threatening the right side too, right?
Yeah. So finally, I'm gaining a little bit as we play this ko, and you can see I'm also playing all the forcing moves I wanted to play from this side.
Yeah.
So look, in the process of playing this ko, I am gaining enough to secure a better lead, and eventually I just played this move and two moves there.
Oh wow!
So this position is as if I had played this move to prevent black from playing that. So that is back to start, and um, I'm sort of in between on the way to this end game, and I've played all the forcing moves I wanted to play here. The drawback is that black now can start the ko on the left side.
Yeah, I was just going to ask. Yeah, so that's the good timing on that.
But the good thing about this is that with all this extra profit that I've gained with this squeeze, and the exchange I did on the upper side here, it's going to be enough to give me a winning position.
No kidding.
Unfortunately, I don't have any code threats, so I'm going to die again, and I just take this. So that's it. It was an exciting finish, but actually I'm ahead before Comey. I'm actually winning on the board, you might say.
It's such a fascinating game because your opponent really. I mean, yeah, you were adventurous, you were, getting it, but your opponent played really just sharp, solid. I mean, kind of exposing every time you got a little out there, exposing. But at the key moment when he had a chance, he had two chances to lock up the win, and they're not even that. I mean, it's easy for me to say now you've shown us, but
yeah,
they were.
In particular, I really admired this move. It was really showing that he had a good judgment of the position.
Yeah.
And it was a good point. It was an important point that reduced my potential on the right at the same time as threatening me on the left. And then a few moves after that, this should have been the final blow. His moving to live in the lower right corner. And I had no way to refute that.
Yeah. The timing, that's what I'm saying. His timing throughout the game was really impressive, right? I mean, from the very beginning, just almost AlphaGo-like, and just sort of being just a little bit ahead, right?
He was a little bit ahead. He was attacking very well, and his choice of points to play in positions that were, like I was showing you, the positions that were wide open, very difficult to judge sometimes. He was playing very effective moves. So it was a great game from him. And the losing move was so surprisingly easy, a mistake. Like it was, even at this point, like this move was such a simple mistake. It was hard to believe. Like it was quite sort of a waste, you might say. Like I would be extremely annoyed if I was the black player and I did that.
Yeah. But, let me just say, or ask, I should say, he was under time pressure at that point, right? I mean, I'm assuming.
Even if you have time pressure, you do have 1 minute per move.
Okay.
And after overtime. So, like if he had just been thinking about the local position, he should have had time enough to see that. It was just an oversight.
And it's something you guys train for too, right? I mean, you train for this sort of thing so that you have, and a minute is actually a fairly long time.
I think that like he just misread that when he played this cut. Like this cut also was a point where he had a number of choices. He could have cooled it down by playing, for instance, something like this. This would have been another way to avoid a direct conflict, and it would have been good enough. But he was just heading to that variation. He thought he had it read out, and some blind spot there that was had misread it from something like 10 moves ago, and it's just something that was it was complete blind spot. That's all.
Right. Well, I think that's one of the sort of the interesting things, when we look at the AlphaGo games is. These kind of mistakes don't get made, but you're right. It does sort of spoil the game in a way. But on the other hand, it's, that's what makes human versus human so interesting, right?
Yeah, I think that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah. Because I was looking and I was thinking, because I didn't know, we hadn't talked about it, so I didn't know whether you won or lost this game. But I was thinking, man, it looks bad for Michael,
Yeah, it was really bad. Like I had some good ideas, but I was just not. I was being a bit unreasonable in how I tried to make them work. So it was.
Yeah, but once you were handed that second chance, you sure grabbed it with both hands, didn't you? But the other thing too.
This is easy. Look, like that's the whole reason I feel the liberty here on the left.
Right. But it's so funny because both your bottom group and your side group
Yeah,
die, and you
yeah.
still
Well, at
win.
that point, yeah. At that point, I was finally enjoying the game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we enjoyed that very, very much. Thank you so much. I love these games. They're really fun, very fun, and very exciting. So thanks for that. Of course, thanks to all of you for watching. Good stuff. And Stephen, who producing us as always. Reminder: next Sunday is our big AlphaGo to Zero game. Right now, as I mentioned earlier, it's looking game two has got a bit of an edge over game five, but hey, we still got a week to vote. So Stephen will put that up. We'll put another story out in the e-journal. And we'll announce that on Saturday. I'll post a story on Saturday, let you know which game. It'll be a mystery to Michael too, but he's prepared either way, whichever way we go. But thanks, as always, to the American Go Association. We would not be here without them and all of their wonderful members. Thank you all so much for being members. If you're a member, thank you. If you're interested in finding out more, go to usgo.org. There's lots of wonderful stuff on there. As always, subscribe here on Twitch. It's cool. Then whenever we come on live here, you get a notification that we're on, so you can drop whatever it is that you're doing, unless it's today and you're doing something with your mom, in which case, I hope you still did that. And as always, check out Michael's YouTube and Twitter. He's been doing lots of cool stuff. He's got all kinds of problems and analyses and so forth. And as we've been saying during this pandemic, let's keep the life and death on the go board, folks. Be seriously, wherever you are in the world, be really, really careful out there. We want to make sure that you're here around for a long time to play this wonderful game. So thanks again. And Michael, just a wonderful game. Well done. Good win. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, folks. See you next week.